Hey, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to work on a little project here. So when we click on the plus, we toggle these little menus. I got some dummy text in here. Usually you're going to use this like maybe in your footer or in your sidebar menus. But we're just going to work on the functionality and how to make this in the most basic way. So let's open Visual Studio Code. And I just made a folder. I'm calling it accordian tutorial in index HTML. We're also going to need a style.css file and main.js. Alright, exclamation mark, tab, call it what you like. I'm going to copy and paste some stuff, not everything, but feel free to pause and copy from there. Right now I'm going to type, so let's make a div of main and class container. Okay, we're just going to contain everything inside of our container. And after that, let's make a div of dot column. And in our column, let's make an h2. Give it a class of toggler buttons. And just say shop. So inside of there, I'm actually going to put a class, a font awesome icon. It's by font awesome. So in our HTML, I'm gonna actually leave a link in the description. So in our head, I'm gonna paste in a font awesome CDN. So go ahead, look in the description and you'll find that. Just copy paste it in. And while we're up here, let's actually link our CSS to style and script. We're going to make the src to main.js. Oh, let's make this bigger. Okay, hopefully that's big enough. Alright, so going back to our div here. Let's give it a little space. Tab. We have a button column. Let's hit save. And we're just gonna open it in live server. Let's see what we got so far. Okay, so we got a shop and a plus sign. That's why I'm using that font awesome F8 plus. So underneath there, let's actually, so this is pretty much the button we're going to click on when we make things happen. When we click on the plus or the whole div, actually, it'll make the UL underneath pretty much expand. So let's start working on that. let's make a div. We'll call it, give it a class, so just .div to expand. Okay, and in there we're going to make a UL. With li, and if you have Visual Studio Code with Emmet, just hit star, and let's see how many we want. Eight li's inside. You know what, I'm actually going to copy and paste this in. Control V. So I got a bunch of LIs with anchors inside of them. Just give them any kind of text you like. I'm using like keyboard towers, lights, chairs, anything to do with what's going to probably be on your computer desk. Although I use a laptop myself. Let's also not forget to give a class in the UL. UL list, just in case we're going to do some styling to it. So we have a div right here of div to expand, a UL with a bunch of LIs and anchor inside. You can pause the video right now if you want to type it out. Okay, and that's pretty much our column. And we pretty much just highlight the whole column. Holding Shift and Alt, press down arrow once and twice while still holding in Shift and Alt. Press down twice. Separate them a little bit. And hit save. Here's what we got now. So remember, when we click on these pluses, we're going to make these expand. Okay, so now we have to go to CSS. And in our CSS, let's first do some styling. Container. Let's give the container a width of, let's say, 20% of the screen, or the container that it's in. Height, 100% of the viewport height. And background color of, let's say, dark blue. Here's what we got so far. Actually, let's put it like this for now. Okay, so that's our container. Above container, I'm going to put in some default, change the default margin, padding, border box, get rid of all the list styles and text decoration. I'm putting Font Family of Ubuntu, which I'm actually going to import that from Google Fonts. So you can go ahead and paste in whatever your favorite font is, but this is kind of like my latest favorite. So let's save that, see the changes, and that's what we got so far. Alright, below container, put for the toggler, what do we got here in HTML? So yeah, our toggler buttons. Get rid of that quote there. Oops. We don't need this single quote. So toggler buttons, and save, go to our CSS. Actually, I'll come back to this. Div to expand. I'm just going to leave that blank for now. So if we set our div to expand to a height of 0, when you hit save, this happens. So they're all kind of going outside of the overflow. So we want to change the overflow to hidden, so that nothing is leaking outside of their div. Alright, so we have, and let's just get rid of this for a second. Okay. Underneath, let's make a class we're gonna actually use to toggle. So let's call it activate dash toggler. And hold on, let's take this away for a second so I can show you something. So right here, if you open up the DevTools with Control-Shift-I, and what you're going to do is go to Elements, let's go, you got to find the div to expand class, and what we're going to look at is right here. If you highlight the div to expand, you can see that it's a width of 76 by 165. So 165 is a height. So that's how we look at the height, and they're all the same heights for each one. So let's put this back on 0. And the activate toggler, we're gonna put a height of, say, 165 pixels, and copy this class name. Let's go to index.html, and on one of them, the div to expand, we're going to add in that class, Control V. When you hit save, let's see what happens. Okay, 165 height. So we're going to actually toggle this class though in our JavaScript. So let's remove this. Just wanted to show you what happens when you put the class in. Alright, in our JavaScript. Let's first, all of these buttons, toggler buttons right here. So the whole div, the H2 that contains the plus and the shop, let's actually target them all. So all 3 of these buttons, by putting them in an array. Well, we're just going to use the query selector all const. Let's make a variable and call it toggle underscore buttons equals document dot query selector all and dot activate, not activate toggler, no. Toggler buttons. Toggler dash buttons. And hit save. Also, we want to put in a variable all these div to expand. As you can see, we also 1, 2, 3 as well. So const divs to expand equals, and also a document dot query selector all, because we're selecting them all. Keep forgetting that div to expand. Okay, so we have all the toggler buttons right here in the variable, and we have all the divs to expand in a variable. So now let's make a for loop. For let I equals 0 as long as I is less than toggle buttons dot length I will plus plus. And okay, so for the toggle buttons, when we click on them, so let's make the add event listener toggle buttons dot add event listener, listening for a click. Let's make the arrow function. Alright, and then the divs to expand, we're going to use class list. Oh, let's not forget the I. So div to expand I dot class list dot toggle. So let's hold on here for a second, go back in our style. Did we make, yeah, so we're going to toggle this activate toggler. Don't use the dot. Oops. Don't use the dot because class list already knows it's a class. So we're going to toggle activate toggler whenever we click on one of the toggle buttons. We'll add the class 2 divs to expand, which is this one here. We're going to add that class to it. So let's actually, so when we click on this button, let's try now. Nothing's happening because in our JavaScript we got to hit save. Click on it again. Nothing happening. I'm sure. Zero toggler, activate toggler. Let's see. Div to expand. Activate toggler. It's at the top, so we got to put defer. That way the HTML will load first before JavaScript. It'll wait. I'm gonna console. See what kind of error is coming up. I'm sure there is. Toggle button start event listener is not a function. Add event listener. Oh, that's why we have to put the I as well here for the individual button. Should work now. Yep. Perfect. So we got the functionality working. What's left is CSS styling. Can do a little bit of that now. See how it's going so fast, so we want to add a transition to the div. So transition, let's say 0.7 seconds. Let's go back here and nice and smooth. Okay, looking good. Okay, let's add a little more CSS. So in our index HTML, you can see we have the toggler buttons, these H2s. So let's actually style that a little bit. So I'm gonna go just under container. Dot toggler buttons. Let's give it a width of 100%. Padding. Okay, so we're giving it some padding, top, bottom, left, right. Display. Flex. So they're sitting next to each other. And justify content space between. I have this expanded just for a video, but as you can see, when I make it smaller, but for the video I can actually even say 40%. Okay, so the container is 40% width. Let's go down here a little bit. Div to expand. Actually underneath. Div to expand UL. And we're going to target the UL itself. Let's actually say padding left 25px. So we're giving the UL some padding. Now remember, when we click on these, let's give these a little color, which are these are all the anchor tags inside of our ULLI. So I'm gonna just hold in Shift and Alt after you highlight and then press the down arrow once. Okay, so we're copying the same thing. We're just gonna add in A for anchor. Color white. Okay, let's see how it looks. Alright, much better. Okay, yeah, that's about it. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe, like, share, and have a good one. Take care.